Hello again, my little conscripts, and welcome to another Mordian Glory video. In today's episode, we are going to be casting our ever-critical eye over another 10th edition Imperial Guard detachment. And this time, we have what very well may be the most popular, the most hyped up Guard army in the Codex. The Hammer of the Emperor. Let's be honest with each other for a moment. Guard players love tanks, and this attachment is all about the tanks. So of course, this is the one that people are going to be most excited for. And let me tell you, it does not disappoint. There are very few things in this game which will make me move away from my beloved lethal hits and the combined arms attachment. But you know what? The Hammer of the Emperor might just do it. A bold statement? Well, not really. It's been doing really well at tournaments. A fairly straightforward statement. A straightforward statement indeed. Well, you know what? Let's get into why Hammer of the Emperor is so good. Let's mount up, roll out, and drive right into this.
Attention, Guardsmen. The Commissariat has detected you have not yet liked this video. Do so immediately, or else you will face the Emperor's wrath. And anyone who has not yet subscribed to the channel will be transferred to the penal battalions. That is all. Move out!
Let us begin with the detachment rule. Iron Tread, the armoured spearhead of an Astra Militarum. Sorry, let me say that again. The armoured spearhead of an Imperial Guard army group grinds relentlessly forward, ploughing through enemy infantry with arrogant disregard. So, the flavor text is peak. My only quibble with this attachment rule is the flavor text kind of lies, because you can't just plow through enemy infantry with arrogant disregard. Each time a squadron unit from your army advances, do not make an advance roll for it. Until the end of the phase, add 6 inches to the move characteristic of models in that unit when making that advance move. That unit can move within engagement range of enemy models, but cannot end that move within engagement range of enemy models. So basically, what this means is you auto advance 6 inches. That's what it means. This whole bit about going within engagement range of enemy models, when I first read this, I thought that meant, oh, I can like drive over, I can just like drive through enemy units, which would have been amazing, which would have been actually very cool, because it would have been like, oh my god, like I cannot be move blocked anymore. See you later, shitlords, as I like plow through all the enemy infantry, all the enemy models. That would have been amazing. But unfortunately, that's not how it works. What it basically means is if you've got an enemy unit, you can go within an inch, you can sort of skirt past, you can sort of give them a little kiss. You just can't touch the enemy units. You can go within like a millimeter of them. You can go within an inch, but you can't end up on top of them. You can't end your move with an engagement range. If you start with an engagement range, it doesn't allow you to like pseudo fall back without any of the disadvantages or anything like that. It basically just means you can get real close to an enemy unit, but you can't go over it, and it's still very possible for people to move block you. The main thing about this, and it's very, very good, is the auto advance 6 inches. So we're going to focus on that bit. So fundamentally, this is an incredibly powerful detachment rule. Even without anything else, this is incredibly powerful because movement wins games. Anything that allows you to get more maneuverability out of an army is a straight A tier, S tier ability. And the reason that movement is so powerful is it allows you to be proactive, not reactive. Oh, there's a really big enemy threat coming down this flank. I can react to that either defensively or offensively. I can just move away from the threat, brilliant, or I can suddenly concentrate my force to counter with that threat. Movement basically allows you, if you've got good movement, it allows you to get the first punch in. And in a game like 40k, which is very lethal, he who strikes first often strikes last. A great example of an army which embodies this is Eldar. Now, there are many reasons why Eldar have historically been kind of cracked, but one of the reasons that makes them so powerful, addition in, addition out, is that at their core, Eldar are a mobility-based faction. And this allows them to just leverage all of their eliteness at the drop of a hat wherever the player needs it. Coming over to a more guard-specific example, how many times have you heard someone complain about move, move, move? Move, 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 the order that lets you get 3 extra inches of movement. Doesn't sound like a lot, right? Oh, just 3 extra inches? Well, the thing is, move, move, move is one of the best orders in the game because those extra inches can allow you to get onto an objective. That can allow you to deny that primary points. May allow you to score your own secondary. Oh, I can't quite get to the middle of the board for edge now. Oh, wait, move, move, move. Now I can. So you can use it to just score points on a primary and secondary level, but you could also, of course, use it to get angles. To be able to draw line of sight. Oh man, this tank can't quite make it. I can't quite see you. I just wish I had an extra inch of movement. Oh look, here's 3 extra inches of movement. Bang, now I can see you, now I can shoot you. You thought you were hiding in L-shaped ruin? Think again. And so now coming back to the detachment rule, Iron Tread, an auto advance of 6 inches is so good. It's so good just on its own because, again, how many times have you played a game where you're like, okay, I just need to get a 2-inch advance to pull this off. And you roll the dice and you get a 1. Oh, I just need to get a 3-inch advance to pull this off. You roll a dice, you get a 1 or a 2. It's game-changingly important. You need this. You re-roll it with the CP, you get another 1 or a 2. And you're just like, well, missed out on all those points now. Game's basically over. It might not even be that the game's basically over, but we've all been there where just being able to have a fixed advance roll would make such a difference to us getting where we need to go on the battlefield. Auto advance 6 inches, just army-wide on all of your squadron vehicles, is fantastic. It allows you to go where you need to be. But wait, there's more! Because it's not just about how this rule works on its own. This is the Guard. This is the Emperor's true finest. We win by combining things together, whether that's combining screening with tanks, indirect fire, with deep striking, whatever it may be. We win by combining things together. And Iron Tread and the Hammer of the Emperor is no exception. Fundamentally, we talked about move, move, move earlier. Well, you can have move, move, move and Iron Tread, meaning that your vehicle can go an extra 9 inches in a turn. Think about that. A transport going 19 inches in a turn, like if it's like a Chimera, 21 inches if it's a Taurox. A Hellhound blasting forward like 19 inches, brilliant. And as you'll see, we do have some stratagems and stuff which will allow us to advance and shoot. So obviously, if you advance with everything all the time, you won't be doing a lot of damage because you won't be able to shoot. But we do have a stratagem that allows us to, on 1 unit per turn, essentially do the advance and shoot. So you can go move, move, move with Iron Tread, go 19 inches to 21 inches depending on the vehicle, and then still shoot. And that's just a single order and a single CP. It's not even like a complicated 4D chess combination. It's just, oh yeah, an order and stratagem, bang, bang, done. It's powerful not only because it's movement, it's powerful because it's very, very simple and straightforward. It's beginner friendly. And if you really want to know the #1 vehicle for Hammer of the Emperor, you might think it's a Baneblade, you might think it's a Liam Ross or Rogal Dawn. No, it's the Taurox. Tauroxes love being in Hammer of the Emperor because Tauroxes can advance and the dudes can still get out and shoot. The best combo in this detachment, let's say the best combo, there's a lot of good ones. It's up there like top 3 combos you can do with this detachment is Kazakin in a Taurox. Because the Kazakin can scout the Taurox 6 inches. Then the Taurox can move 12 inches with an auto advance for another 18. So you don't even really need an order for the Taurox. You can do, but you don't even really need it. So you're going 6-inch scout, 18-inch move and advance. That's 24 inches. Then you another 3 inches if you need it for move and move. That's 27 inches. Then your Kazakin can jump out 3 inches. So that's 30-inch threat range, and your Kazakin get to shoot. And remember, your Kazakin can order themselves with Warrior Elite. So you're going to have a bunch of 10 Kazakin, zip forward, turn 1 into the enemy deployment zone, jump out, and just start blasting everything with like take aim. Just 2+ to hit melter guns, 2+ to hit plasma guns, a plasma pistol. Someone yeets a melter mine at someone. Someone shoots that sniper rifle. A couple of hotshot weapons. Against certain armies, that is absolutely devastating. It's thanks to this combo. And then you've got things like Hellhound. We talked about Kazkin. You've got things like Hellhounds that we talked about earlier. Blast forward. Burn people. And then when they try and move away, overwatch them. Hellhounds and Tauroxes love being in this detachment. Pretty much any vehicle does. But Hellhounds, Tauroxes, Kazakin, those are some of the hidden gems of the Hammer of the Emperor. And they are absolutely lethal. Against armies, we talked about Eldar before. Against armies like Eldar, being able to potentially get the first drop in, amazing. Really, really, really strong. Because Eldar are very, very elite. But they're actually quite fragile. They kind of rely upon coming in and blasting everyone to death so they don't take any clapback. If you can get the first punch into them, it can be devastating. I have seen someone essentially just take several units of Kazakin and Tauroxes, and every turn, once a turn, just be like, forward, forward, forward. Just Kazakin missile, Kazakin missile. Sometimes people, I've seen actually, it was at a tournament, live stream tournament, someone, every single game, they just went 2 Tauroxes, 2 lots of Kazakin, Hammer of the Emperor, bang, forward, jump out, smash. That was their opening move every single time. And they just were wrecking people left, right, and center. And all of that is possible thanks to Iron Tread. You might think, oh, well, you can do this, a lot of what we're talking about, without Iron Tread. The big thing about Iron Tread is it removes the randomness from it. If you're a competitive player, if you're a tournament player, randomness is the enemy. It's the bane. Because you can have a plan and then a single dice roll can scupper that entire thing and put you onto the back foot. But just being able to go, I know I'm getting 6-inch advance from this, so I can pre-measure everything down to the millimeter and know where I need to go, how I'm going to get there, and how much movement I need to achieve this, and how much movement I have guaranteed in the bank. So good for competitive play. All right, so I think I've wanked off Iron Tread enough. I've laid it on a bit thick, to be honest. Why don't we move on and take a look at the enhancements? So our first enhancement is Calm Under Fire. In clipped tones, this officer issues clear and precise orders to the vehicles under their command, regardless of the bloodshed. I do quite like the idea of having like veteran officers and that being represented on the battlefield. Vehicle officer model only. Once per turn, after the bearer issues an order to a squadron unit from your army, it can issue the same order to another squadron unit from your army. So essentially, this is a slightly weaker version of Grand Strategist from the Combined Arms Detachment. It's slightly weaker because it has to go on a vehicle officer model only, and it's slightly more restricted because it has to issue the same order. Whereas Grand Strategist is just like, have an extra order, bozo, do what you like. However, the reality of the situation on the tabletop is that most people are putting Grand Strategist on tank commanders anyway. And also, typically you end up doing the same orders. It's take aim or it's move, move, move. And so what you can always do with this is order like take aim like 3 times, or do move, move, move twice and then take aim once, or vice versa. Long story short, this is the best enhancement in this detachment. It should be an auto include in pretty much every single Hammer of the Emperor army that you make. Extra orders are S tier. Next up, we have Indomitable Steed. This officer goes to war in a favored vehicle that, whether by fortune or apparent divine intervention, I love that, has survived dozens of battles despite suffering heavy damage on multiple occasions. Vehicle officer model only, the bearer has a Feel No Pain 6+ ability. Now, this is pretty decent. It's pretty good. And a natural home for this enhancement is on a Rogel Dawn tank commander. Rogel Dawn tank commanders are incredibly popular, and they are very good at being able to do orders as well as bringing some half-decent firepower to the tabletop as well. But they're also a very high priority target, and one of the problems they have is they lose ablative plating. For some reason, the Imperium decided that taking the extra defensive measures off the Rogel Dawn for the commander makes sense. Let's not get into it. So because you lose ablative plating, you need some other kind of defensive buff, because the basic plating is surprisingly badass. It's surprisingly impactful on the game. So the Feel No Pain on your Rogal Dawn commander does make sense. However, you do have to bear in mind that you're already going to be paying more for a Rogal Dawn tank commander than a Leman Russ commander, and then you're going to put this enhancement on top. That Rogal Dawn commander is going to start getting very, very spenny, very pricey. However, there's another reason why Indomitable Steed has gone from a auto-include in my hammer list to a nice to have, which is the way that Feel No Pain interacts with wound pools. So let's look at a unit of Custodies, for example. They've got 3 wounds each, and if they're Wardens, you can pop like a 4+ Feel No Pain. If I hit that Custodies unit with a damage 3 weapon, let's say like a battle cannon, and they fail one of the saves, they then get their Feel No Pains, and let's say they pass one of the Feel No Pains. That's super, super good for the Custodies, because they've only lost 2 wounds off that 3 wound model. Now if I hit them with another damage 3 weapon, let's say they've got a save that they fail, they can take all 3 of that damage on the 1 wound guy. So I've put essentially 6 damage into the unit, but I've only taken off 3 wounds from that unit's wound pool. If we look at a tank, if I fail 2 of my saves and pass one of these Feel No Pains, I lose 5 wounds from my unit's wound pool, because I haven't got multiple models to basically absorb excess damage. So I think Indomitable Steed is good. I definitely think it feels nice having it on a Rogal Dawn tank commander, but it's no longer an auto-include in my lists. Moving on, we have Regimental Banner. A Regimental Banner flies from this command vehicle, its colours displaying the might of the Imperial Guard for all to see. Vehicle Officer Model only, add 3 to the bearer's objective control characteristic. So this one is very useful if you are going extremo tank heavy and you're not taking as much mechanized infantry. If you're someone that's like, I'm taking Hammer of the Emperor because I want to take Leman Russes and Rogal Dawns and Hellhounds, I want to take big tonks, and if I can get away with having as little infantry in my army as possible, then that's what I'm going to do. For armies like this, Regimental Banner is very nice. For more balanced Hammer of the Emperor lists, where you're still taking 40 to 60 infantry mech'd up inside Chimeras or Tauroxes, I don't think you need Regimental Banner. It's very good, and objective control is always nice, and there's going to be plenty of stories that people will say where they're like, look, I had an extra 3 OC on my Rogal Dawn commander. He was 8 OC. It was amazing. Yeah, 100%. And I can also see this becoming more valid with the fact that Imperial Knights have now updated, and War Dogs now only 5 OC, and you can be 8 OC, so you kind of get like you get one of the best bits about old War Dogs, which was they were OC 8 each. So it's good, don't get me wrong, I'm not poo-pooing Regimental Banner, but again, it kind of comes down to a nice to have for me. I can build my list where I don't need Regimental Banner, but also it's cool, man. Flags are cool, so this wins rule of cool. Finally, we have got Veteran Crew. Drilled endlessly by the officer in command, the crew of this tank are crackshots who know how to make every shell count. Vehicle Officer Model only. Each time model in the bearer's unit makes a range attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. This is just good. This is just a straight damage boost. Whether it's on a Leman Russ commander or whether it is on a Rogal Dawn commander, this is nice. If you have the points, you should include this one. It's not particularly flashy. It's not particularly clever, but just being able to get rerolls in an army like Guard where we don't have a lot of rerolls is very good. Now, some of you might be thinking, what about Scout Sentinels? Because surely I could just replicate this with Scout Sentinels and I would get a lot of rerolls. The issue is Scout Sentinels are quite fragile, and at the moment, Prevailing Wisdom says that you kind of want 1 to 2 Scout Sentinels. 1 really, 2 max. And they're really there for doing objectives and then dying. So saying I can get the same thing from a Scout Sentinel is technically true, but the reality is that most of the time your Scout Sentinels are going to be dead or hiding from turn 2 onwards. I say hiding because you might have a Scout Sentinel that's sort of in a ruin, just tucked in on the edge of an objective, something like that, at which point its daring recon ability isn't very good because it has to be able to see what it wants to recon. Overall, every single one of these enhancements are good to amazing. There is not a single bad enhancement here. I've spoken fairly negatively about Indomitable Steed and Regimental Banner, but the truth is that even with me looking for all of the different flies in the ointment, these are not bad picks. And if the game allowed it, I would say you could take all 4 of those in a list and not be handicapped. The issue for a lot of players is going to be which 3 do you pick, because you're only allowed to take 3 enhancements. I think Calm Under Fire is an auto-include. I think after Calm Under Fire, I would go for Veteran Crew. These 2 are nice to haves. I would say Indomitable Steed would come in 3rd place for me, because Regimental Banner, like I said, I can, with the way I like to run Hammer with lots of mechanized infantry, I don't really need Regimental Banner. But again, none of these are bad choices at all. My own personal ranking of them would be Calm Under Fire 1st, Veteran Crew 2nd, Indomitable Steed 3rd, Regimental Banner 4th. So the army rule is good. The enhancements are good. Surely something's got to give. Surely the stratagems have got to be bad. Oh no, my sweet summer child. The stratagems might be the best bit. First up, we have Final Hour. Even with flames licking through the interior of their vehicle, this crew refuse to abandon their positions regardless of the risk to their lives. You spend 1 command point, you use it in your command phase, you target 1 squadron unit from your army that is below half strength. Until the end of the battle round, ranged weapons equipped by models in your unit, excluding one-shot weapons, have the hazardous ability. And each time a model in your unit makes a ranged attack, you can ignore any or all modifiers to that attack's ballistic skill and to the hit roll. First thing I want to say is, well done, GW, for spotting the obvious bullshit loophole that existed with this stratagem. Because if they had not put excluding officer units, how this stratagem would have been used every single time, guaranteed, would be on a Lemurus tank commander. Because you would shoot your tank commander, hope to crap that you hazardous yourself to death, and then shoot again using death befitting an officer. I mean, I'm kind of sad they didn't allow it. I am kind of sad they didn't allow it, because it would have been funny to just essentially recreate the Skaven but in the Imperial Guard. But as it is, you can't use this on officer units, whether that's Lemurus tank commanders or Rogel Dawn tank commanders. Now, one way you can kind of cheese this stratagem is with the Tech Priest Engine Seer. You see, you do this in your command phase, and you have to target 1 squadron unit from your army that is below half strength. But you get to pick which order things happen in your turn. So if we come over to the Tech Priest Engine Seer, you can see we have got the Omnicized Blessing. In your command phase, select 1 friendly Astra Militarum vehicle within 3 inches of this model. That vehicle's model regains up to D3 lost wounds, and then you get the 4+ invulnerable save. Now, I don't know if it's a particularly good tactic. I'm just saying technically it's possible. But what you could do is target a unit that's just below half strength with Final Hour, and then afterwards heal it in the same command phase with the Tech Priest. And you could regain quite a lot of wounds. Now, that is nice because it would allow you to potentially weather the downside of this stratagem, which is hazardous, because you could potentially regain 3 lost wounds, which essentially insulates you from one of the hazardous rolls. I'm not sure you'd want to do that, because you probably want that 4+ invulnerable save to go on a vehicle that's going to survive. But it's a way you could potentially cheese this if the aim was to have as many wounds on the vehicle and you didn't really need the 4+ invulnerable save at that time. Now, we've talked a lot about how you can cheese this stratagem and how you can't cheese it. I guess the big question is it a good stratagem? Is it worth it? For me, this is a solid mid stratagem, because being able to ignore any or all modifiers is nice. And in certain moments, it's going to be very clutch. And there are quite a few armies out there that have got some kind of inbuilt -1 to hit. And one thing that can really screw with guard is making us not hit on a 3. So we hit on a 4, and the reason why Take Aim is such a popular order is hitting on a 3 massively upscales our damage output. Going back to then hitting on a 4 is like, You know, where does it feel like a 50-50? So I like this because it gives you a tool in the toolbox. I'm not entirely certain that the hazardous is worth it, because if it's like a Lehman Russ, for example, you've got 2 sponson weapons, the whole weapon, the main weapon, and the heavy stubber. That's 5 hazardous rolls you've got to take. There's a real chance you just rattle yourself to death, because it has to be on a unit that's below half strength. If it was a full strength unit, I'd say I'd take that deal, but it's below half strength. So in a Lehman Russ, that's 6 wounds or less, because it's got 13 wounds, so below half is 6 or less. I know, mathematics, right? But my point is you're only 2 ones away from that Russ dying. It's not that much better on a Rogel Dawn either, because on a Rogel Dawn, you have the 3 stubbers, and the pulverizer cannon, and the 2 sponsons, and the auto cannon, and the main gun, which is typically going to be, well, if you're taking the auto cannon, it's going to be the oppressor cannon, isn't it? So that's 8 hazardous rolls you'd have to take, right? Weapons equipped by models in your unit, not just a hazardous check, but each weapon has hazardous. And if you're a Rogel Dawn, then that means you're going to, in your below half strength, that means you're going to have 8 wounds. So on 8 dice, you would, if you rolled 3 ones, which I'm going to be real, I can definitely see happening. You might say statistically it's unlikely, but come on, buddy. Come on. I know it. You know it. We've all been there on the tabletop. You just see 3 ones come up. Oh, my tank died. Yeah. Final hour is a risky... It's a risky gambit. I see it as a tool in the toolbox. I see it as something that you pull out as and when you need it. But it's definitely not something I would build a strategy around. Truth be told, this is probably the weakest stratagem in the detachment, which is kind of ironic because I said they're all the stratagems the best bit. But truth be told, this is the weakest one, but it's still usable. There's still a use case for it. All of the ones after final hour are amazing, great, go to, and these are the ones that make Hammer of the Emperor such a CP intensive detachment. And it's one of the reasons why a lot of people say the Lord Solar is mandatory in Hammer of the Emperor, because if you want to get the most out of the detachment, you're going to be burning through a lot of command points. Our first properly good stratagem is Blazing Advance. By petitioning the machine spirits of their vehicles, tank crews push their armored steeds beyond conventional limits. 1 command point. Use it in your movement phase after you have advanced. Remember, you auto-advance 6 inches. Target that squadron unit. Until the end of the turn, your unit is eligible to shoot in a turn in which it advanced. So good. This is good on basically every damage dealing vehicle that you're going to be fielding in your list. Whether it's Rogue or Dawn's officer or regular version, whether it's Lehman Russ's officer regular version, just being able to blast forward 16 inches, 10-inch move, 6-inch auto advance with take aim on you, and you get to still shoot, you're having a great time. Blazing Advance is awesome. I actually think one of the best units for this is the Hellhound, because you go forward your 16 inches. You don't need an order on it. You can put an order on it, but you don't need an order on it. So you blast forward, shoot someone with the Flamer and the Inferno Cannon, burn the shit out of them, and then next turn when they try and move away, you can go Overwatch and just burn them again. So Blazing Advance is good all the time. You're probably going to want to use this every single turn. It's good on every vehicle that you want to do damage with. And I think there's a special shout out to the Hellhound for just becoming frankly a nightmare for your opponent. One of the big problems with running a tank heavy list is getting tied up in combat, getting tagged in combat. Tactical Withdrawal says that's not a problem anymore. Even in retreat, the armored fist of the Imperial Guard keep firing their cannons. When your movement phase, just after a squadron unit for your army fell back, target squadron unit, you can fall back and shoot. Oh my god. Amazing. So important on guard vehicles because we have a lot of blast weapons. Just being able to go, I'm going to fall back and shoot you. No dramas. Blast weapons. Because otherwise you can't shoot your blast weapons a lot of the time. Obviously you can't shoot at all if you fall back. But if you're sort of stuck in combat, it's like, oh man, I can't shoot my blast weapons. So I've got to try and like heavy stubber you and like las cannon you off my hull. Or multi-melters. Now you could be like, I'm going to take plasma cannons. I'm going to take like an execution plasma cannon or like a battle cannon or Demarche cannon. Not a Demarche cannon, too swingy. I'm going to take like an execution plasma cannon and I'm just going to fall back, full plas blast your ass, and I'm going to have a great time doing it. It kind of speaks for itself, tactical withdrawal. Anyone who's run guard tanks for any length of time will know the frustration of getting them tied up. Having something that lets you just go, screw that, I'm still falling back and doing what I want, is very good. It also, I think, we often talk about Hellhounds being bully tanks, but I think this is very tasty on a Rogal Dawn. See, one of the issues with the Rogal Dawn is it'll go into combat. It'll go into combat, but no one wants to be hitting on a 4+. This allows you to go, take aim on my Rogal, fall back, full blast. It allows you to bully with the Dawn, because you can start tagging. So this is the Uno reverse card. It allows you to go, oh, you tag me and tie me up? No. I'm going to actually willingly charge into you and start causing you to have the dilemma of falling back or staying in combat. Because if you say to me, oh, well, you've tied yourself up, now I'm going to stay in combat with you. No, I haven't tied myself up. I've got tactical withdrawal ready to go. Now, speaking of bully Rogal Dawns, it is entirely possible to sink 3 to 4 CP into a single Dawn over the course of a battle round, because Blazing Advance is great on a Dawn, Tactical Withdrawal is great on a Dawn, and both of these combine very nicely with Crash Through and Furious Cannonade. So Crash Through is the very infamous stratagem. You use it in your movement phase or your charge phase. You target one Astra Militarum vehicle unit from your army that has not been selected to move or charge, and until the end of the phase, each time your unit makes a normal, advance, or charge move, it can move horizontally through terrain features as if they were not there. Basically, you can just go through all those L-shaped ruins to your heart's content. Now, look, we'll come back to Crash Through in a moment, because it's obviously good. It's more maneuverability, going through walls, getting past L-shaped ruins. Amazing, amazing, amazing. But then let's look at Furious Cannonade. One command point in your shooting phase, one squadron unit that's not been selected to shoot. Until the end of the phase, each time model in this unit makes an attack that targets unit within 12 inches, improve the AP of that attack by 1. So you know how I said that this detachment was very CP intensive? Imagine the very, very likely scenario where you take a Rogal Dawn, you give it take aim, you use Blazing Advance to move it forward 16 inches. You Crash Through to go as the crow flies. You get an angle on a unit that thought it was safe. You absolutely blast the crap out of it with Furious Cannonade. That's 3 CP in your turn. Your opponent then tries to tie up your Rogal Dawn in combat. In your next turn, you use Tactical Withdrawal, and you could then use Furious Cannonade again. In like one battle round and a half, you could dump 5 CP into a single Rogal Dawn, and it would be so intense for your opponent to deal with. Most players, when they come across vehicles like the Dawn, they think of them as fire support vehicles. But the Bully Dawn, I don't think it works tremendously well. I think it's okay in other detachments, but in Hammer of the Emperor, it is actively it's actively insane. It's such a dilemma for your opponent to deal with. The big reality check on all of this, though, is it's a hell of a lot of CP. But in 1.5 rounds, you will have gained 5 command points. 2 in your turn, thanks to Lord Solar. 1 in your opponent's turn, and then 2 again in your turn. Now, it doesn't quite work like that because of the order the CP come and the order that we talked about using these stratagems, for example. But the point is that it costs 5 CP, but in the time frame, you would get 5 CP. So it is actually not just like theoretically possible. It's actually possible. And that's just one combo. That's just with the Rogel Dawn. You can replicate a lot of this on many other vehicles. I keep coming back to Liberuses. I keep coming back to Hellhounds. It still applies. Think about Furious Cannonade on a goddamn Hellhound. You'd be auto-hitting at AP -3 with an Inferno Cannon that ignores cover. Furious Cannonade, Crash Through, Tactical Withdrawal, Blazing Advance. These 4 stratagems right here are the heart of the competitive Hammer of the Emperor. How you leverage these, how you use them in the game, is going to be a significant factor in how you achieve victory and how you build your game plan. Last but certainly not least, that goes to final hour, we have got ablative plating. 2 CP, your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit has selected its target. 1 Astra Militarum vehicle unit from your army that was selected as target of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack is allocated to your unit, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of that attack. 2 CP for -1 damage. It's good, but I kind of feel like it should be 1 CP. Maybe like 1 CP on a vehicle with 17 wounds or less, and 2 CP on a vehicle with 18 wounds or more. 2 CP is just a little intense. I don't really got 2 CP to spare, I should say, because I got it to spend, but I'm kind of spending it all on Blazing Advance, Tactical Withdrawal, Crash Through, and Furious Cannonade. It's not a bad stratagem, but it kind of falls into the same area as Final Hour. Like, there's a use case for it. Final Hour is probably worse. Ablative Plating, there's a use case for it, but I just feel like it's slightly too CP demanding to be worth it. But there's always going to be a game, every tournament, where you're like, I really need this vehicle to survive. Like, it's not negotiable. So, boom, 2 CP. Also, 2 CP here. Enhancement here. That's quite a nice little combo. An Indomitable Steed with ablative plating. Because this one isn't limited to not officers. So there are ways you can make it work. It's definitely got more options. It's definitely got more likelihood of being useful than Final Hour. It's just a little spenny on the CP front. Bringing all of this together, the detachment rule, the enhancements, the stratagems, it's not hard to see why Hammer of the Emperor is so popular. Your detachment rule is good. Your enhancements are good. And the vast majority of your stratagems are really, really good. Hammer of the Emperor is very competitive because it leans into what makes competitive lists: speed, violence, and momentum. Iron Tread and Blazing Advance allow you to add even more maneuverability into what is fundamentally a fairly maneuverable list because it's vehicles. You've got quite high movement on vehicles in comparison to infantry. It also allows you to do incredible damage. Whether you've got some rerolls from veteran crews having a nice little damage buff there, or you're using a combination of Blazing Advance and Crash Through and Furious Cannonade to just smash the opponent in the face. And momentum. You are the one who is being proactive. This is something that a lot of people learn when they start playing competitively. You don't win games by being passive. You don't win games by being timid. You'll often find that competitive players really take very aggressive very attacking orientated lists. They're always putting pressure onto their opponent. They're always putting pressure onto the enemy army. They're dictating the shots. They are proactive. And this is the case with Hammer of the Emperor. It is a very proactive army which allows you to put pressure on the enemy. It allows you to do damage to the enemy. It is an attacking detachment, not a defensive detachment. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you like Hammer of the Emperor? Have you used it? Did you find it effective? What is your favorite way of running it? Do you go mechanized Kazakin elite infantry blasting forward, or do you go for all of the tanks, or maybe somewhere in between? If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to go ahead and smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.